Hello there, a very good evening to you. You're welcome to the weekend edition of News Tonight here on GHOne TV with me, Natalie Fort. A look at the top stories. Member of Parliament in Ahafua North questions why many government interventions have not yielded needed results in the face of worrying multidimensional poverty statistics. Also ahead, West Africa Examination Council refutes payment claims by Majority Chief Whip as basic education certificate examination lies in limbo. Well, let's get into the details this evening, starting off in education, as the West Africa Examination Council has refuted claims of receiving 80 million cedis from government for this year's basic education certificate examination, known as BECE, contrary to claims by Nsawam Adouedri MP and Majority Chief Whip Frank Anor Dompre. The Majority Chief Whip earlier revealed that the government released an amount of 80 million cedis as part of payment of 93 million cedis debt owed the Examinations Council. Well, let's have a listen to Majority Chief Whip Frank Anor Dompre, who spoke earlier in Parliament.
Ranking member raised it, and I have details of it here. No, you are not listening. Please come. He raised issues about release to WAEC for the conduct of exams, and ranking member, the respected ranking member, gave me copies. So myself and the chief whip, we followed up and we spoke to the Minister of State, Honorable Abner Saisai. She got back to the ministry, did all the checks, and confirmed that indeed they have made significant release. Significant. Well, please listen to me. So we are told an amount of 80 million has been released. So please, my colleague can make all his point, but he should stay clear of that. The matter has been dealt with.
Well, meanwhile, the West African Examinations Council, in an interview with GHOne TV, is disputing Anor Dompre's claim that the government issued a warrant worth 47.125 million cedis and not 80 million, as claimed. John Cappy is the Director of Public Affairs at WAEC.
$95.837 cedis. But then they have paid just at 2.284 million. So we have a balance of 93.552 million to be paid. Well, after the time that the office was closing this evening, the Director of Finance presented to me a warrant that we had received from the Finance Ministry. And the amount indicated on the warrant is 1,125,594.12 Ghana cedis. No indication has been given to us as to when the remaining payments or funds to be provided for us. If we go through processes, we have the pre-exams, the exams, and then the post-examination procedure. Now, we have been able to get our suppliers to provide for us on credit answer booklet that the candidates are going to use. We've also managed to get some bond paper. We've got some pencils as well. And all of this to the tune of about 51 point something million. Now, so we have sent the question papers up to a certain point, and obviously, God willing, by the close of next week, we should be done with the printing of the question papers.
Right.
Now, the act of conducting the examination was what was the challenge, and that's the reason we had to come out and then appeal that the government releases funds for us to be able to carry out that aspect of the job. After the last examination that we wrote, we had the entire team of examiners that we needed to be able to do the job for us. So I do not have any reports to that effect that we are losing some quality examiners. Yeah.
Well, certainly more on this developing story and its implications in subsequent bulletins here on GHOne TV. Let's turn to some other news. Still on education, Ochinhene Osajefo Amwetia Ofori Penin is calling for improved incentives for teachers, particularly those assigned to rural areas, to enhance the delivery of quality education. This call comes amid concerns of high attrition rate amongst teachers in Ghana and the persistent shortage in rural areas.
Registrar of the National Teaching Council, Dr. Christian Adaipuku, has revealed that over 16,000 Ghanaian teachers applied for positions in the United Kingdom's Department of Education last year. By June 13, 2023, 10,000 of these applicants holding Ghanaian teacher licenses had been certified to work in the UK without further assessments. This compounds the high attrition rate among the teaching profession in the country due to poor condition of service. Many schools in rural areas do not have adequate teachers due to lack of incentives. Ochinhene Osajefo Amutia Oferipini believes providing infrastructure and laptops to school is ineffective if there are no quality teachers to utilize these resources to teach students. He is advocating for special incentives for teachers posted to rural areas.
In a week, a Sebio, a baby call, Aqua Derby, it will be in this or side of a pencil, and I'm a school a year from. Or side of a pencil, and I'm near to baby yoy. Or side of a pencil, and a man, about him.
The overlord of Achim Ebuakwa touted the free SHS program and urged parents to take advantage to provide secondary education to their children. He cautioned against teenage pregnancy and irresponsible parenting, leading to an increase in child neglect and school dropouts.
It show you no maybe net table so I go like school that what here o here computer ko pebe sia no ato now they share fie then ko like baby at ina say yeah bon pa na onyame emwai yenya atwia ekwai yenya ahode ne emfam pagya begromai ani Ghana mai.
At a royal derby organized by the Binkum Division in honor of Ochinhene's 25th anniversary celebration, he assured attendees at Begor that a new chief would soon be installed to occupy the 5-year vacant stool to help facilitate development in the area. Osajefo Amwetia Oferipini underscored the importance of community stability and warned against land and chieftaincy disputes in the Fantiakwa area. He urged successful citizens of Bregor globally to return to their roots to help in the development of the town.
Well, a sigh of relief for students in deprived and rural areas as the Ministry of Education and the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization has announced plans to distribute tablets, smartboards and other digital equipment worth over $1 million to basic schools. The move forms part of the government's commitments to improving digital literacy in basic schools.
The government launched the Smart School project in February to distribute 1.3 million tablets to students in senior high schools. The program also aims at distributing ICT equipment such as smart boards, among others, to enhance the teaching of the subjects. It is in this regard that the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization has presented smart learning equipment to the Ministry of Education. Addressing the media during the presentation here in Accra, Education Minister Dr. Yao Osei Educhum said the government will continue to invest more in digitalization and infrastructure in basic schools.
Related to UNESCO by WAEC, and this is going to go to 10 schools across the country. And the good news is that they're going to have the connectivity that they need. They're going to have the devices that they need to really use technology in the classroom. We know high schools have their tablets going to them. Junior high schools are getting this, and other organizations are coming to us supplying technological devices to our junior high schools. The exciting thing is the smart board, which enable teachers to teach the 21st century way. So we are so grateful today for Huawei, for UNESCO, and this has been spearheaded by CENDLO, Center for Distance Learning and Open Schooling, and then GES. And we are so grateful today for such a wonderful donation. All the devices and everything together is going to cost Huawei about $1 million. So we are very grateful.
On his part, the country representative of the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization, Edmond Mukola, said they will continue to support the government in achieving its digitalization drive in schools.
It was highlighted that following COVID, we wanted to make it accessible to all. And for rural areas where even the internet might be limited, we're also exploring other means, including Skylink, which will bypass all the limitations of the optical cables connectivity into satellite connectivity. That will be one of the steps. But our point is that we're leaving no one behind and reaching out to the forest region and ensuring that they have access, especially with Starlink, because it makes it very easy and it's very fluid and the capacity is very strong. We are very optimistic that this thing is in a very near future. Ghana will be updated, and those students and learners in the remote areas, including even young girls and women who have not really had the opportunity to have access to education, will also benefit from this distance learning.
You're watching News Tonight here on GHOne TV. Away from education, commuters and market women at Klo Agogo in the Yilo Krobet municipality of the eastern region are lamenting over the nature of their market and roads in the area, which has affected business activities. According to them, getting access to the marketplace to sell, especially during the raining seasons, to support their livelihood has become difficult. My colleague James Janfosu was in the area and has come through with this report.
Residents of Klo Agogo are mostly traders and farmers engaged in fruit and vegetable crop production who support the demands of the country. However, the dilapidated state of the Klo Agogo market has adversely affected the flow trading in the community. Speaking to GHOne News, some of the market's women and traders recounted how a 17-kilometer road from Sekabeng leading to Ehiamenchene has jeopardized their livelihood. They appeal to the government to, as a matter of urgency, fix their roads.
Yaba aboboya miso nso mitnem medena zaka jeza misipo ansana na plam nyame enso wo ba buanya na wo buanya ne yehuna amende wa ha.
A driver who plies the stretch to bring goods to the Agogo market disclosed how he encountered an accident on the road, causing fear while commuting.
I don't know tip we get put away at Mosom. Kayam ngene peke domi chuk anyu yam. Knowledge mano jino ko ne wo hia wa we. Dano so wa jwa kayam ne. Mososu keke wo ni chulo me jwa mi opo e pe problem kan wo. Ki ono kwa selu jwa yo zinno me twepe ne ko yo fi atreti kayam ne.
Member of Parliament for Yilo Krobo constituency, Bismarck Nyakote, blamed the current Ekufodo administration for neglecting his constituency.
Now, a police officer has been reportedly crushed to death during night duty at police checkpoints at Kantanka Junction on Winneba to Kaswa Highway. Away from that, His Royal Majesty King Taki Teko True II GHOne has launched the Homowo Cleanup campaign, urging his sub-chiefs and subjects to actively participate in the exercise to rid the city of filth in preparation for the annual Homowo Festival. Speaking at the launch of the campaign on Friday, June 21, 2024, the GHOne emphasized the importance of unity and obedience to rules and regulations to ensure a successful exercise. He also cautioned that all shops and stores should remain closed during the cleanup exercise, which begins on July 2, 2024.
The GHOne, His Royal Majesty King Takite Kochu II, during his presentation of the launch, commended Zoom Lion for supporting the initiative with logistics and other resources, calling on citizens to actively participate in the cleanup exercise.
Asaf wacheme fe ni ba ni ambafe wa task force ne da ochie Zoom Lion ba wa menyomo. Asaf wacheme ke asaf wanyeme. Ni beni wa ba jene chumone shien shapo ife ba nga. Yeah. Ni mlaina to ye fali fe mo gbajano to ne he fe oye no. Yeah. NDCB
Minister for Sanitation and Water Resources, Lydia Sarah Malhassan, on her part, emphasized the importance of collective efforts in maintaining cleanliness, noting that it is not a one-time event, but a continuous process that requires the involvement of all citizens.
The Homowo cleanup exercise serves as a right tool to symbolize the unity of purpose and collective action required to achieve our sanitation goal. As we engage in this exercise, let us remember that cleanliness is not a one-time event, but a continuous practice that requires the dedication and involvement of every individual.
The launch brought together stakeholders, including the Greater Accra Regional Minister, Chief Executive of the AMA, and other MPs in the Greater Accra region. The campaign, themed Clean to Celebrate Omoho, aims to keep the capital city clean beyond the annual festival, promoting the culture of cleanliness and civic responsibility.
You're watching News Tonight here on GHOne TV, and we are your election hub. We've got some election-related stories next. Now, calls for the new Patriotic Party flag bearer, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, to choose Chief of Staff Frema Osei Opare as his running mate has intensified, with traders, particularly market women in the Dome market, endorsing her candidature. Interacting with the media, the traders say her performance as Chief of Staff is indicative of her qualities.
No vote. Tiantu abana amaflema ye tiasie ye to amano because oyoba owabadaye Yoruba omia Yoruba flema maye no maye ni e mani esu baby e se jagbreso to ye ni baby ti eti bi de meka ni se obabadaye ni no flema oba flema yaji watu papa no flema no to your papa Bawumia nim say ye nya mami flema opale sense no no your bad time or your ba oti masse ye paye papa Bawumia chaw say onyi flema mami flema opale ye hwe na nim dende.
Queen Mother of the Dome Market, Ruth Nyakwa, who also endorsed the Chief of Staff's candidature, used the opportunity to call on her to help resolve the perennial floods in the markets.
Na ye frem ha say ye ha wo nyina ye onabo frem apalenti na ye frem esan say ye ma me ne yo ba tan a ye hye ema aba o ma Ghana mu ha ye ma me yakukuduro fo pa ye hye se de woni na nado amamuo akosi
maame ne oba osomboma Ghana for emma wo ya badaye enti die tie from ne say ye ha wo nyina ne say atache wo ha ye nim say maame from apaleba o me fa na obetima ye bibia madome market.
The traders are therefore pleading with the MPP to endorse their choice, touting the Chief of Staff's performance in her present office.
Well, away from that, personal assistant to the National Chief Imam, Dr. Abubakar Mohammed Marzouk, is appealing to political parties to embrace peace and not violence. Barely 6 months to the general elections in December, the Islamic scholar urges Ghanaian youth to resist attempts to be used to spark violence ahead of the 2024 general elections. He added that this year's polls should enhance the country's quality of multi-party democracy.
Very soon, Ghana will go to the polls. We are appealing to all electorate, all Ghanaians, all the youth of this country to accept the general election as another opportunity for all of us to reaffirm our commitment to the consolidation of constitutional order and good governance. This election is to enhance the quality of multi-party democracy. It is not a warfare. Let no youth reduce himself or herself to apparatus of violence. Let us not allow ourselves to become the conveyor belts of violence for politicians. I am appealing to all political parties to desist from using any means that will give birth to violence. Let the Electoral Commission also be very independent and impartial in the conduct of the elections.
Leader and founder of new political party, the Risen People's Party, James Kwesi Opong, is asking Ghanaians to ignore the MPP and the NDC and opt for a new political party that can solve the economic challenges of the country. Speaking during a press conference to announce the participation of the RPP in the 2024 elections, James Kwesi Opong said a vote for the RPP is a vote for prosperity and development.
Media men presence, countrymen, I declare to you that there is a new political party in the country, Ghana, to contest the upcoming presidential and parliamentary general elections on December 7th, 2024, to solve the economic hardship and change our city to foster easy life in Ghana. Trading with our foreign partners all over the world is so difficult because we have a weak city. Life in the country is not well, with citizens making some of them, or some are brilliant citizens living for greener pastures elsewhere. With the Risen People's Party, we will make sure things are done pepe to make life in the country enjoyable and better. The truth must prevail in all our undertakings to bring us close to God, to make Him open new blessings for our nation. With the Risen People's Party, Ghana will see peace, Ghana will see joy.
Well, the 2024 election certainly promises to be one of the most historic, and we'll bring you all the action right here on your election hub on GHOne TV and across all our sister stations. We've got more news shortly. Do stay. Welcome back to News Tonight. And some more news this evening. Liberian refugees who have been living in Gomwa Budumburam for over 30 years are accusing successive governments of neglect throughout their stay in Ghana. They say that government has not adhered to the rights of refugees spelled out in the Refugee Convention and in human rights treaties by allowing traditional authorities to demolish their homes, church buildings and schools. GH1 News' Yabwa Jan has the rest of the story.
We don't have nowhere. I personally, I have nowhere to go. And I was up there for local integration. Me and my 2 kids, and we are here. They are not in school. I'm a single woman. We don't even have food to eat. But we are just here struggling, nowhere for us to stay. How can I go back to Liberia if I don't have anywhere there to stay?
Some also allege successive governments have done next to nothing in terms of development for them, lamenting how their homes, classrooms and church buildings have been demolished.
I don't have house to sleep. I'm sleeping, catching with people. We are in the school. They say we should move. We move from the school. Now I don't have place to live. My children are going to school. And I will not go in Liberia now because the children are going to school. And I don't have place to live. I'm living with my friend.
Despite the rights of refugees stipulated in the Refugee Convention and in human rights treaties, which ensures rights to education, healthcare, housing and employment, some of the refugees living in Gomwa-Budumburam say they have consistently endured discrimination from Ghanaians.
And we are refugees here, nothing coming, no help coming for us. This is not our country. We are denied of job. There is no job, nobody. If you can't even speak the tree, they will not even provide you a job. So we're here and struggling on our own through the help of God.
Ransi Bojo-Ekuya is the Secretary General for the Liberian community in Ghana.
If I'm qualified to work, give me a job to do. When I earn more in your country, you boost your economy. We want African leaders to take this approach, and this will improve situation in the near future. We shouldn't forget, crisis happening in Liberia, crisis happening elsewhere in other countries in West Africa or in Africa as a whole. And we should learn from those situations. Ghana herself, she's been peaceful for quite long, but the treatment she's giving us, we don't know what will happen in the future.
In 2006, the United Nations ruled that it was safe for refugees to return home, but many who remain traumatized and without connections to their homes remain in the Budumburam camp. But in March 2024, some 15,000 Liberian refugees were left destitute after authorities demolished the Budumburam camp.
Away from that, the Member of Parliament for Bole Bamboy, Yusuf Sulemana, is blaming Minister for Lands and Natural Resources Samuel Abu-Jinapor over some clashes between the military and MPP executives in the Constitution over mining activities. According to reports, military officers assigned to protect the large-scale miners in the Bole district have brutalized the MPP vice chairman and secretary for Bole for their alleged involvement in illegal mining operations. Speaking on the floor of Parliament, MP for the area accused the sector minister of failing to do proper stakeholder consultation before allocating lands to large-scale miners for prospecting, resulting in the clashes.
We are told that some ministers have asked military to go and protect the Chinese who are there doing whatever they call it. They say it's prospecting, but I tell you, they're mining. And so the youth involving constituting the MPP executives are saying that, look, we have not been involved, we have not been told anything, and the letter we are doing here is being taken away from us. So that is where the resistance is coming from, and the military couldn't also restrain themselves. So they ended up brutalizing them. And then when the vice chairman was arrested and taken to the police station in Bole, of course the youth will have to solidarize with him. They went there trying to even throw stones at the police and to make a few calls to the youth to plead with them that these things ends up tarnishing the image of the great community called Bole Bamboy. So if they could restrain and then exercise patience and see how we work to resolve the matter. The bottom line is that the minister responsible for lands and natural resources must tell us why he's apportioning the lands to large-scale miners without stakeholder engagement.
Next in the bulletin, we've got the latest business news. The top business story this evening, the Member of Parliament for Ahafo North, who doubles as the Vice Chairman of the Local Governance Committee, Suleiman Ahmad Adamu Sanid, has described the 2024 multidimensional report released by the Ghana Statistical Service as Worrying and scary. The recent report by the Statistical Service identified a total of 7.3 million Guineans, representing 24.3% of the household population, as multidimensionally poor. At a workshop for the members of the Local Government Committee, the Ahafo Ano North MP questioned why many interventions by the government and other successive administrations have not yielded the needed results.
The dimensional report released by the Ghana Statistical Service measures deprivation in several dimensions simultaneously, including education, health, and living standards. Of these, 43.8% are experiencing severe poverty. Addressing the media at a workshop for the members of the Local Government Committee, the Ahafo Ano North MP questions why many interventions by the government and other successive administrations have not yielded the needed results.
The numbers that we are seeing today is actually revealing and a bit scary. In fact, on a casual observation, you can clearly see that yes, there's a lot of poor people in the country. So this is actually confirming casual observation that people normally make. So I think policy interventions must actually be looked at.
Ranking member of the Local Government Committee and MP for Ho Central, Benjamin Kudu, urged government to intensify interventions to alleviate hardship of the citizenry.
I think we are doing enough. If we were, we wouldn't be so much low in getting our people out of poverty. So it means we have to do a lot more so as to lift our people out of poverty. It is necessary for us to identify those households which come under this classification so that there will be interventions made to lift them out. You heard when we asked the researchers say that even LEAP, if you are receiving LEAP, you think that it's something you are getting, but you are still very poor.
Director of Social Statistics at the GSS, Umar Saidu, has also been speaking to GHOne News.
Poverty is not only the lack of money. Poverty can be as a result of health, as a result of education, as a result of many other things. And so to that extent, you need to identify policy-wise how do you tackle multidimensional poverty to get people out of it. And so that is how come we have these dimensions. And so we hoping that this will be used to help the population that are multidimensionally poor come out of poverty.
The workshop was organized by the African Center for Parliamentary Affairs and the Ghana Statistical Service here in Accra.
Let's turn to the power sector. In recent years, Ghana has revitalized its interest in nuclear energy due to ongoing challenges in the power sector, making considerable progress towards building a nuclear plant. The Association of Ghana Industries, AGI, supports this initiative, citing the sustainability, climate-friendly nature, cost-effectiveness, and substantial generation capacity associated with nuclear power.
Ghana aims to achieve this target by incorporating nuclear power as a base load to support intermittent renewables. Nuclear power is generated through nuclear fission, where reactors use the heat produced during atomic fission to boil water and produce pressurized steam. This steam spins large turbine blades that drive magnetic generators to produce electricity. Given its reliability and low electricity cost compared to hydro and thermal generation, AGI supports the introduction of nuclear power, highlighting its potential to spur industrial growth and stabilize the city.
We have some energy now, but the cost is high. Now, if you compare to our major competing countries like China, they do much less in terms of cost. We do about 4 or 5 cents per kilowatt hour, and we do way above that, twice as much or 3 times as much. So our cost here is way higher than them, and therefore it makes us less competitive. And as I said, energy cost constitutes a major cost of your cost structure, and therefore if you have energy costs reduced, it will also make you more competitive.
Speaking with GHOne Business, Dr. Archibald Boakofi of the Nuclear Power Institute emphasized that beyond electricity generation, Ghana stands to benefit significantly along the entire nuclear power value chain.
It is imperative that if we have to develop as a country, we need to have adequate power which industry will be able to afford. The Paris Agreement is on climate change, and you need, as a country, to meet our commitment, we need sources of power that will help us attain that. And nuclear is one of those base load powers that does not emit greenhouse gases. We can talk about jobs. Typically, a construction site for a nuclear power plant will employ close to between 5,000 to 10,000 people.
Addressing the concerns about past nuclear accidents such as Chernobyl, Fukushima, and Windscale, the director of the Nuclear Regulatory Authority, Professor Emmanuel Ampoma Amwakun, reassured the public about stringent safety mechanisms enforced by the International Atomic Energy Agency.
Currently, nobody builds a reactor without containment. After Chernobyl, the Convention on Nuclear Safety was also initiated, and Ghana has been a member of the Convention of Nuclear Safety, where we report exactly what we are doing to prepare for nuclear power. You can check online and find our national reports, which tell exactly what steps we are taking to ensure that safety is of paramount interest to us. So Chernobyl cannot happen in modern day world where we don't allow for positive coefficient of reactivity.
Ghana's current energy mix includes hydro over 34%, gas thermal over 63%, and solar about 3.5%. The country has an electricity access rate of 88.7% with a target of reaching 90% by the end of 2024. For GHOne Television, Calvin Powell.
In some more business news, the Ghana Revenue Authority, GRA, has directed Strategic Mobilization Limited, SML, to resume its monitoring operations in the downstream petroleum sector, effective June 14, 2024. In a statement signed by the Commissioner General of the GRA, Julie Esiam, it was stated that this move aligns with the presidential directives based on the KPMG report. The statement emphasized that SML is expected to ensure all systems are fully operational and compliant with the relevant standards and regulations to deliver accurate, reliable, and timely monitoring services, thereby supporting Ghana's revenue assurance efforts. Additionally, the statement urged bulk oil distributors to cooperate to ensure the successful resumption of the monitoring exercise. And on that note, that's how we wrap up news tonight this evening. As always, do visit our website, starfm.com.gh, for lots more international and local stories. It was produced by my colleague, Eko Boache. I'm Natalie Fort. Have a wonderful evening.